And so they went for 2 more hours, and even after presenting a moderate loan modification that they had come together that would have been more profitable for the bank than foreclosing, they decided after 2 hours of wrangling to accept the certificate of bad faith. And so she now has a certificate of bad faith for the Wells Fargo, and they threatened to sue the mediator.
That is Tiananmen Square survivor Jane Mayer, who escaped to the U.S. to build a better life for herself working at Microsoft. After her neighbor ran her over on a motorcycle, she sustained a catastrophic brain injury, while the idiot judge ruled it an accident, but that's ridiculous. I ride a bike. You don't accidentally do anything on a motorcycle. It requires your complete attention. But anyway, her nightmares were only starting at that point as the banks closed in on her instead of working with her under HAMP while she was making partial payments. At least 2 sets of hucksters then took her for more than $10,000 and did nothing to help. We'll be exposing that soon and going after them. But as you watch this, understand that she signed for all 3 of the family homes because she was the only English speaker. Now, we helped her get a TPP with Bank of America, but prior to that, they lost her mother's home when Chase reneged on a temporary payment plan after they paid the 3 months as agreed. And as this movie started out, still ongoing is the situation in mediation where Wells Fargo took a bad faith certificate rather than to work a deal. Now we're having another mortgage workshop with attorney Scott Staffney and Financial Revival Group's Howard Bono and Seattle City Council next month. And the new CFPB laws are supposed to address some of these issues of abuse. But stay tuned for that. But right here, in the meantime, I'm going to address some of it right here.
That's right. Now let's turn on to Wells Fargo. When you were at your Wells Fargo mediation for your other home, which is in mediation, they refused to negotiate in good faith, and they took a bad faith certificate, did they not?
Yes, they did. They'd rather... See, this is what happened with my home in Lake City area. What happened is that when World Savings give us a loan, our payment is less than $600, and the more we pay, the more we owe. And I didn't know what happened and why we want to refinance it when the interest rate was low. They don't want me to. And gee, you have to trust the bank. You put money there, everything, all the investment, every penny of a transaction, you want to put it into the bank. How would you doubt the bank would cheat you? But turn out to be, I'm cheated. And when I was injured and lost a job, and income was dramatically cut. So it was Wells Fargo also told me, if you want to really get loan modification, you need to skip 3 months of payment. So you stop paying 3 months so that we know you really cannot afford it. Then we can help you to make home affordable mortgage.
Yes, and now
loan modification.
And now they turn around and refuse to negotiate in good faith, which is incredible.
Oh, yeah.
And they do the same thing with us. We have a case with Wells Fargo where they waited. First they said that the case was in review. We provided all of our documents to show that the homeowner had a good, evaluation in terms of whether or not the net present value calculations were in. We gave them the whole thing. And they refused to give us their whole net present value calculations. Okay? And so the mediator said, well, no, they were going to dismiss it and move ahead, and we said no. There are 2 cases out here. There's 2 cases out here on the West Coast from the Ninth Circuit where Wells Fargo was punished for not allowing a HAMP modification.
The problem is Wells Fargo rather take a bad faith certificate and took our money, sold our loan to whoever, and they still knowingly know they're wrong. They send me $500 check to me for what? So that to me is they admitted they made some mistake or wrongdoing, whatever.
Oh, those checks they issue.
They'd rather send me a check and drag me as long as possible and keep the high interest rate and steal my home. This is what I see. Otherwise, why don't they help me? They said they would, and they told me I had to skip 3 months of payment. But all other things that happened after that was default notices, foreclosure notices.
Yes, and refusal to negotiate in good faith. Well, we're going to document that. I'm going to try to get you a lawyer who will sue. I know Northwest Justice lawyers are upset about this, but they're not in a capacity to sue. I'm going to try to find you a lawyer who will.
Well, if it's needed, when we have to go that routing, we may have to take it.
Indeed. Jane Mayer, thank you for talking with me about this case again.
Thank you. My name, real account number, real address. God.
I know. But, you know, I did the same thing with the woman I'm working with now and in Ohio. And she says, you know, I'm not afraid. You know, I'm putting this information out there. I'm not afraid to say what this is what the bank is doing to us. And that's why I think after we finally got your trial payment period, the Bank of America refuses to negotiate. They refuse to accept me as a point of contact for homeowners now. Yeah.
Why do they afraid?
I don't know. Maybe they don't want to have to do what they did with you, which is to give you the trial payment plan.
I hope the other day on the phone, you, me, and Mr. Gonzalez, right?
Yes.
I told you guys, I especially doubt Bank of America's sincerity. Would they be just like a Chase dealt with my mother's house after they take the last drop of our blood, 3 months of payment for the trial, no late 1 day, no less 1 cent, and then went ahead auction the house.
Chase did that to you guys. You made the 3 monthly payments and they still sold your house.
Yeah.
Right.
That was a Chase.
Yes.
And so I was wondering if Bank of America would do the same thing, because it is not a permanent payment or settlement or loan modification.
I understand. Well, we're going to be watching them.
So that's why I asked him, and you said, or he said, it's not going to happen like a Chase.
Yes, and I was with you on the phone during that conversation. So we got that clear. So we'll be watching that closely as you go forward.
Mr. Gonzalez said, no, they will not do the same thing like a Chase.
That's right.